Welcome back, Sethbling here. I've spent a lot of time in my recent videos talking about cool things you can do with the hopper, but I haven't focused too much on the other redstone aspects of the 13w01b snapshot. So I'm going to make this video all about that, and I have a bunch of stuff to show. This one is just pretty lousy, and this actually doesn't have that much to do with the 13w01b snapshot. That's just items going up through a big block of glass. Looks kind of funny though. Anyway, but what does matter here is we have a comparator pointing at the dispenser, and that is causing it to rapidly pulse. So basically what's going on is that the comparator provides constant redstone updates to whatever it's pointing at. And there's a long-standing bug or feature with dispensers where when they receive, if they're powered, whenever they receive a redstone update, they fire. So that's what's going on here. And yeah, I think it's a really neat looking effect. But I've got some other uses for that, and they're pretty useful. Basically, you can use it to force updates when pistons might otherwise bud. So one cool use is you have the normal Jeb door. This is the classic flush piston door with almost no redstone. This is all there is to it, plus 4 comparators, 2 over here and 2 over here. So basically, if you don't have these comparators, remove them. The power from these redstone dusts, it's powering both levels of pistons, but the redstone updates don't make it all the way down. So only the top level actually gets triggered by any changes to the redstone. And, well, that doesn't happen on that, but yeah. If I click the lever down and up, now it's not going to do anything. So basically these comparators down here are constantly telling the pistons on the sides to check their state, check to see if there's power coming from above, even 2 blocks above. And so, yeah, it's just a lot easier of a way to do this kind of door than before, because in the past you had to find a way to get that bottom layer of pistons to update. Here's another application for that. I've got a button here, and I can go through this door. The button is 2 blocks off the ground, and it's in a it's on a one wide wall here. So this works on a similar principle. The button right here powers a piston in here. Now without this comparator right here, the piston would never receive any updates, and it would actually it wouldn't pulse on. But since this comparator is constantly telling the piston to check its state, it does actually pulse on. It brings a block down here, which blocks off the signal and turns these torches on to open the doors. So yeah, the comparator providing those constant redstone updates is a pretty useful feature. Let's see. So the redstone block is kind of useful, being able to push that around. Here's a new type of block update detector. I don't know, I've never seen it before anyway. Just put a block next to this one, and it'll pulse. You can get the output right here. A very simple mechanism. I think actually you don't need this. Yeah. So basically you have a sticky piston. Sticky piston receives power from 2 blocks above. Interestingly, the sticky piston doesn't care if there's a power source 1 block above. It's only if it's 2 blocks above that it cares, if it's pointing upward. And when it gets updated, it extends. It leaves the blocks up here, and then it immediately retracts, because as soon as it extends, it realizes there isn't a power source 2 blocks above it. So then it retracts, and then we use the signal from that redstone block to power this piston, which then pushes the blocks back down. So this is a pretty nice little mechanism here for a block update detector. Just something new we can do with those blocks, the redstone blocks. Let's see, what do I have? I've got some more circuits over here that are pretty useful. This one is a really small monostable circuit. It's 2 by 3, 2 blocks wide, 3 blocks long, and it's nice monostable, so you can see it's outputting a 1-tick pulse over to this piston. We can extend the length of the pulse if we want by just increasing the repeater duration. Very compact, very easy to build. The way it works is you have a signal of strength 14 coming in here, and then a signal of strength 15 coming in here after a delay of 1 tick. So this signal is going to block off the signal from the output of the comparator, and that only happens after a tick, so we get a 1 tick pulse. Okay, this over here is something I built. This is a signal strength change detector. So you'll notice this piston firing every once in a while as I'm recording this video. What's going on is anytime the signal strength changes on this center redstone block, that's going to cause a change out here. Now, you can kind of see what's going on around here. There we go. It's changed again from this daylight detector, because this daylight detector is constantly changing as the sun moves in the sky. So there's 2 outputs from this. There's a comparator here that outputs to the redstone, and this comparator here also outputs to the redstone here. And then basically we have another comparator right here, comparator little loop. So let's look at this comparator. This is one of the outputs. When the signal strength decreases, immediately this one is able to output a signal, because this is in subtract mode. You'll notice this torch here is on, and this is in subtract mode, so it'll have a slightly lower signal from the side than it gets from the back, because this comparator and this comparator are just going to preserve the signal strength from here. So when this decreases, it's going to have a slightly lower signal strength coming from the side, so when it subtracts the side signal, there'll be a little bit of a pulse. And then after a tick or so, 1 game tick or 2 game ticks, the signal will make it through both of these comparators and into this comparator. And again, the center redstone here and the back input to this comparator will be equal. You really have to know what comparators do in order to make this work, but hopefully that made sense to those of you who do really understand the comparators. Then this output is very similar. It's just kind of the opposite. So the back, whenever the signal increases, immediately the back is going to increase, and it'll output a pulse, and then they'll kind of equalize, because these comparators preserve the signal and push it into the side of this one. Yeah. So anyway, you can see what it is. You can copy it if you want. These 2 blocks are required, and yeah, it's just a signal strength change detector. Yeah, it might be useful with daylight detectors or other circuits that we get coming out as more are added. If you want to be able to access this from yeah, anyway, yeah, there you go. So there's that. You can use it if you want. I don't know. I don't really know what the particular uses for that are. Okay, so there's some other stuff. Let's see. Here's a really cool XOR gate. I saw it on Reddit by Gokla. Anyway, that's the name. It's very cool. The way XOR works is if exactly one of these 2 levers is powered, then the output's powered. And so we can see that 1 is on, 2 are on, just the right one's on, and then both are off. So very cool. The way it works is if the lever here, it provides an input power to both of these, but it also blocks off this one. But yeah, even if I replace these with redstone dust, it still works. Just because the signal decays. So this, yeah, it still locks this one off. It provides an input signal to the right one, but it doesn't block it off because the signal decays by the time it gets around to the side of this one. But then, yeah, this one will lock it off. So each of these levers provides power to the back row, but it also locks off the repeater on that side. So very cool XOR. It's very compact. I love it. I'm going to be using this a lot. Here's a little bug I seem to have found. Whenever I flip this lever on, it seems to output a pulse, even though it should be subtracting 15 from the signal strength. So it seems to pulse on to full strength for a tick. It shouldn't be doing that as far as I can tell. So maybe someone from Mojang is watching this video. Hi, I have a bug report. Here it is. All right, so let's get on to this. So this is I think this is the last thing I want to talk about. This is a kind of an update to Instant Wire. So they made a change, and this is a really good change in my opinion. Basically, previously, before this update, when a piston pushed a block, it wouldn't cause any updates around it until the block had finished being pushed, which takes 3 game ticks or 1.5 redstone ticks. So if I provide power to this piston before the update, it would have taken 1.5 redstone ticks for this redstone line to realize that it's not being powered anymore and for that to turn off. But that's not the case anymore. It happens instantaneously now. So basically, I have a bunch of kind of inverters, instant inverters, going on here. So when I provide power to this, it'll turn this one off. When this one loses power, it'll allow the signal through here, and this line will gain power. And then same thing, when this one turns on, this one will lose power, etc. So we can see those pistons all fire at the exact same time, and then it takes a little bit for it to make its way back in the other direction. But that's kind of a big change actually. And so what I've done over here is I have a new design for a dual edge repeater. So this is an instant repeater that carries the signal both when the input line turns on and when it turns off. And basically, okay, so the line's off right now. If I turn it on, what'll happen is immediately the piston here will turn on. You can see that'll get powered by the line. That'll make way for this redstone line to connect up over here. So we'll have power going through this line. So immediately, as soon as I turn it on, the power is going to come on. After a tick, this redstone torch will turn off, but that's okay. Shouldn't that be 2 ticks? No, it's 1 tick. Okay. That's okay, because as soon as this piston is done extending, oh right, so after 1 tick plus another tick, 1 for the torch, this redstone line will turn off. But by that time, this block will be fully extended, and so this repeater will be powering the block, and the line will be powered from that direction. So what I'm trying to say here is when you turn on the input line, immediately the line turns on and then it stays on despite this torch turning off. So actually if I do that over here, we can see that's what happens. And you heard the note blocks go off at the same time. I can show you that again. Note blocks here went off at the same time despite the fact that the signal has to go all the way around. That shows you that it is instantaneous. Then when I turn off the signal, immediately the block here is going to retract, and that'll cause the signal to instantly get lost here because this repeater will no longer be providing power to this line. This torch won't turn on for 2 ticks, so it'll be blocked by the time the signal will be blocked by the time this torch turns on by this block as it retracts. Anyway, so that's kind of a technical explanation for how this instant repeater works, but yeah, as you saw, these 2 note blocks played at the same time when I turned it on. These 2 are going to play at the same time when I turn it off. Wait, something doesn't seem right here. Oh, I see. Because I was using this, right. There we go. So these, yeah, when I turn the signal on, these 2 play at the same time. When I turn it off, these do, and we can follow the wire around to see that that is actually, the signal is actually going all the way around. So this is a new form of instant wire, because it turns out that comparators aren't always instant, and in fact they fixed that bug in the B part of the snapshot. It takes a little bit of time for the signal to propagate through these things. So new form of dual edge instant wire. This is much more reliable, 100% reliable. And so I might be playing around with this because instant wire is some pretty cool stuff. But we might be getting some more redstone elements, so I'm not going to play around with it too much because I don't know what else we're going to get for the redstone update. But very cool stuff. I'm really excited about all the new possibilities with the redstone. I think I covered everything I want to. Yeah. Anyway. We wanted to give a little bit of attention to the new redstone changes. I still haven't done too much with the moving redstone block, but it is definitely more convenient to use some places where you would want to use something like this, a torch and a repeater. Sometimes you can use a redstone block instead, and it saves a lot of space. Okay, well, I think that's about it. Thanks for watching. Fine, but you can't move